Hi, my name's Kirk Tylor, and this is my shop, Custom Design Studios. I'm based out of the San Francisco Bay Area in California in the United States of America. And I've been doing custom motorcycles for almost 25 years now. I grew up in this industry, my father's machine shop, and I've been around bikes since I was a child. And the passion has turned into my profession. My passion for work comes from my upbringing as a child, being in my father's machine shop, where I was surrounded by motorcycles and other really cool things. He was into cars and motorcycles, and I spent my childhood riding motorcycles and mini bikes and wrenching on things and working in the machine shop. My professional work has stayed relatively steady over all the years. In spite of things like financial crises and pandemics and whatnot, we have always stayed busy, much to my surprise, and I'm grateful for that. Because being self-employed, it's always difficult to make ends meet. You are at the whim of the general public and their desires to a degree, and this is what we call a service-related industry. So, you would think, I like to call it a toy business. We're in the toy business. You would think this might be the first thing that would go, but apparently it's not. People still want to get out and away from everything on their motorcycles. I look at the work of other builders. I draw inspiration from their styling cues. There are many builders out there that I really admire what they're doing. But I try to just follow my own whims regarding that. I'm more of a traditionalist in many regards because of my upbringing and being around the motorcycle scene since I was a child. But my heart is drawn more to the iconical looks. I mean, FXRs and choppers have always been what I've been into. And the choppers even longer than the FXRs. So that's what I just follow my own heart, what I like. But I do appreciate the contemporary styling cues where bikes are more performance oriented and meant to be ridden. I believe the client is clueless as to how much work is actually required to build a custom motorcycle. They may have some loose ideas that it entails a great deal of expertise and technical skill that they don't possess necessarily. But I used to have a saying, it goes like this: contrary to popular belief, you cannot build a motorcycle in 44 minutes on television with commercial breaks. So with that thought in mind, many people think it's a much quicker solution or way to get the completed dream done, and it's not at all. There are two things that are required for a project to come to completion. One is money, and two is parts availability. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. If parts are not available, they are not available. So sometimes you have to make the parts. Other times you have to source them. That social media has been a great thing for this because you can use it as a tool to find rare and obscure parts that were no longer available. So that's, they just don't understand really what it takes, but that's why they come here. I believe the customer has come to me because they like my style and they trust my knowledge in getting their project to completion. I always listen to and appreciate their input because ultimately they are paying me to build their dream. Part of my job is to interpret their dream through my lens, my filter, and I always appreciate working hand in hand with the customer to get them exactly what they've envisioned. But I will also be the first to tell them if what they have in mind is a bad idea. And if I cannot dissuade them at that point, then I tell them, I will not put my name on it. So, and usually that convinces them how serious I am about how strongly I feel about the direction that they may want to go. But ultimately they see the practicality and accept my opinion as this is the right thing to do for them. I find my inspiration for creating in many different arenas. I went to school and had an art background. A friend of my father's who was an art teacher inspired me, and I got degrees in graphic design and fine art. But I grew up in a mechanical environment, so it was a natural fusion of fine art and Harley Davidsons, for the most part Harley Davidsons. But I find my inspiration in nature. I find it in music. I find it in a lot of other art forms. My wife was a florist, a floral designer for over 20 years, and I look at flowers and I see such beauty, and even though things are not always necessarily symmetrical, there is beauty and imperfection too. I tell a client that's the difference between graphic design and fine art. Graphic design is it's symmetrical and it's proportioned, and fine art is free thinking, and it's part of the beauty is to have imperfection. There are many things I hate to do and I choose to delegate. My shop is set up to handle everything except for powder coating, chrome plating, and upholstery work. We do everything else in-house. And it's not that I do not like to do any of those other things. It's just that that's a whole nother operation to take on. It's a business entity in and of itself. And there's qualified professionals in our area that I subcontract to for these products. There are many things in the building of a motorcycle that I do not have a high level of expertise in. And I always say to make a motorcycle, it takes a team. It is not one person. For instance, I do not do upholstery work, and I do not do chrome plating, and I do not do powder coating. It's not to say that I couldn't, but the effort and expense needed to do that on top of everything else that I do here, it takes away from the art of building the motorcycle. And when you work with qualified professionals, it brings your work to another level. It's a we thing, not a me thing. You know, in my shop, I like to say we are a one-stop shop, but I've also developed relationships where I can outsource other things that I need done and get a quality product back in a timely fashion. If you have a passion for motorcycles and a dream to see your vision come to life, you should follow it, no matter what. We find many people have sold themselves short with the direction they want to go with a bike. And I've come to a point in my life where I do not concern myself with the cost of doing something as much as getting exactly what I want. With that thought in mind, if you always reach for the stars, you will achieve them. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Contrary to popular belief, you cannot build a motorcycle in 44 minutes with commercial brakes. What's another one? If you have a dream, you should follow it through. Do not keep putting it off. You'll never be satisfied if you do.
It's alright.
Right?
That's funny. It's part of the name.
That's it. The Barcelona Tattoo Festival, I feel, has a very large impact on the scene, if you will, the cultural aspect of it. What I truly appreciate about Bombfest is that it incorporates many different aspects of contemporary urban culture, from the tattoo festival, which is very nice, to the skateboard arena that they've built for it, the car and motorcycle show, and the custom bicycle show, the lowrider bicycles. I like the fact that there's BMX bicycle ramps and jumps as well as for the skateboards. But what it brings together is a broad cross-section of society that I feel is missing at many shows. Some shows do try to throw too much of what I call the kitchen sink approach. But at the end of the day, to draw a large crowd from a broad cross-section, you must offer a lot of different things that appeal to people. And what I appreciate about Bombfest is that they appeal to the young crowd, children, all the way through adulthood into your senior years. But it encompasses everything that makes up modern urban culture.